just want to first ask, how are you doing after hours after the shooting? Mentally, I mean, are you processing it still?
Absolutely. Definitely it's very surreal, but personally doing fine. Just a lot of remorse for those injured individuals that were killed, and the emotional stress from so many people there. That's it's always something that's hard to deal with when you've been in law enforcement for so long and military. And a tragic incident like that, you worry a lot about the president, the emotions he's going through, the family, and even Secret Service and law enforcement there. There's a lot of regret for we should have done something, which we should have done more. So a lot of prayers and hard feelings for them, because I know this is a tough day for them.
Can you paint me a picture of just when you got there, where you were sitting, and how everything unfolded from your eyes and ears?
Yeah, when we got there, first of all, it was so packed. There's so many people. I couldn't even imagine to think of the actual numbers of how many were there, but it took forever to get to our seats. And our seats were great seats right up front on the left. When the president walked out, we're 5 feet from him. But it was so packed, it would be like the craziest concert you've ever been to. There's once you were in your seats and you were in location, there was no leaving. So there was nowhere to go. In other words, so there was rails in front of us, rails behind us, a very small area that we were sitting in, and people were just packed in so much. And everybody was so excited.
And then chaos. Walk
Yeah,
me through what happened.
So, he walked out, and, he even looked at us, had a little smile, and not even, 5 minutes later or so, I'd say, all of a sudden you hear, a little pop, pop, and when it first happened, most of us around us thought it was a little cap gun or a firework, because it didn't sound that loud. It wasn't like a larger caliber weapon from where we were. Of course, we had no information or anything like that. Couldn't see anything. So when the pops went off, I turned away or started looking back behind me to try to look through the crowd and figure out where it was coming from. I didn't even dawn on me to look at the president himself, because I was looking for the individual. And I turned back and then see Secret Service surrounded him. So I didn't see, at that point, if he had been shot. Or what. I just saw him on the ground. I could tell by them patting him down the way they were and things they were doing that something must have hit him. And it really wasn't until we heard we need a medic behind us, right directly behind us. We need medic. Someone's been shot. That we realized, this was a much serious situation and that we were dealing with. And like I said, it all happened so fast, and you don't really know the transition to what you think is a prank to an active shooter situation.
And then, you saw former President Trump get to the ground, Secret Service surrounding him, and then he gets back up. Did you see what was going on his, I think, his right ear? Did you see the blood? Did you see his face?
I could see some the red area, around his head. I knew the situation as far as, it looked like something grazed him at that time. But we could tell definitely wasn't a serious situation. I thought, maybe he had been shot in the shoulder, maybe there's something else going on, but I wasn't noticing anything other than the red blood around the right ear. That was it. One of the things that was really kind of surreal is that when he walked off the stage, his shoe was still on the stage. So he had a shoe that was left off the stage. And later on, you could hear him, can I have my shoes? I would go back and listen to the video. You hear him, can I get my shoes? And I had a picture of it, with his shoes still on the stage, kind of like, I'm not leaving. I'll be, or hold my spot. I'll be right back. It's just kind of one of those things in those moments where, like I said, it all happened so fast, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with the tragedy behind you. It's that was the part where it really escalated to, for a lot of people.
Did you see the tragedy that was happening behind you and around you?
Yeah, you could see a lot of people, and I try to go over there, but unfortunately you can't because the way it was set up, and there's so many people, there was no way to get up there. You know, a lot of people, you know, screaming, crying, asking for help, asking for medical help. I saw the state troopers coming in on the side, and they went up into the stands with the person, and unfortunately had to carry that person down.
Wow. Um, what goes through your mind when you're, in that situation? You're realizing what's happening, but then did you just go on this mode where you got to help people and do what you can?
Yeah, I mean, you go into your kind of your law enforcement instincts of responding, but you know, the thing is there, you know, for the first time, you feel helpless, because you don't have any of your own, you know, protection. You have no resources. And so you're trying to mostly just take the time to identify the person and do the best you can there because you know, it sounded like it was behind us, but not close enough to really do it. But when the shot first went off, like I said, it sounded like a cap gun or fireworks. So, you know, it really sounded like a 22 caliber weapon. That's if you kind of familiar with the sounds of guns or whatnot, that's what it kind of sounded like. It wasn't really loud. And then right afterwards, you heard more shots, and they were a little more rapid fire. And so from where we were, kind of in this little bowl, you couldn't tell you could tell it was coming from different directions. So then we thought maybe we had multiple shooters. And that's when you kind of become more alarmed because you know you can't really decipher what's really happening.
Absolutely. Did you see any graphic, like blood on shirts, blood on the ground? Did you see any of that as you were helping? And
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately,
yeah, that's hard to see. And then so all that was happening, what happened after that? How long did you guys have to stay there before you could leave?
they wanted everybody to leave immediately. The big problem was, you know, once they with all the different shots, you know, the Secret Service that was right in front of us demanded everyone to get down. And the entire time, I and the people with me, we were all standing up. We never got down because I was again trying to find out where the individual was. But they demanded us to all get down, and I kept kind of looking back. And people behind us were trying to get away from the area where the shootings were in the stands. So they tried to start coming forward to where we were and go basically like toward the stage. And the Secret Service was very quick to you know, discharge that situation, you know, and making demands that they stop immediately. So you know, that was a part that you know, was the only really challenging moment. But after that, things calmed down, and then they asked everybody to start to make the way out and leave. And so it took a long time to get out. There were a lot of people, you know, a lot of emotional distress. Some people still on the ground, just you know, why? You know, very sad situation because you know they've never seen that kind of you know, confrontation. And you know, you feel you know, some of them you talk to, and you know, tell them it's going to be all right. And you know, then at that time, we don't know the status of the president. We don't know how many people are injured. We don't know. You know, we only knew of two injured at that moment because we were right there. But we don't know how many were actually involved in it. So you know, for us, we were trying to get back to our vehicles. Phones weren't working. Everything was kind of locked down. My phone was probably one of the few that were where I was actually working, and you know, trying to get a little bit of data and information of you know, the scenario. But you know, once we got back to the vehicle, we were able to kind of plug in and see what was actually going on. But we still didn't know the status of the president at that time, and you know, really worried about him. But you know, being so
You
close, just to get out.
Did you hear anyone make comments about, because I was seeing videos online of people making comments about the shooter as far as his location and all of that, like apparently watching him go up and start shooting. But did you hear anyone say anything about the shooter or like during that moment?
No, we never heard anything itself on that. And again, when it all started, we just thought it was a prank. And I also thought it was a prank because you're in a secured perimeter. You don't think logically that someone would have access to something like that. It'd be possible to sneak fireworks in, but you don't think of that perimeter that anybody would be able to have any weapons of that go to that level. So it's just hard to say because you're trying to use common sense against reality. So
You know anyone other than Mr. Miller that was there or injured personally at the event?
I don't know anybody personally injured. The biggest thing that we kept questioning on the way out is how did we not catch that? How did we not see this individual on top of a roof? How was that not secure? So there were a lot of questions related to that even that I kept asking that, just, how did this get missed?